It's still Daybreak Africa, reaching here from our studios in Ondo City. Of course, I'm Ezekiel, Ogar. As I said, between I and Angela, this morning we shall be talking about citizens' rights, voted integrity, impact on economic development. One way or another, our leaders tend to determine the route we tend to take as a people. So their expertise, their experience, their knowledge is always there to navigate us. If we tend to vote people that do not know where we are going, then it's obvious we are headed for where we do not know, of course. And with us in the house is Ijeh Felix. He's an economist. He's a public sector analyst. He is a finance resource on the public sector economist and analyst with over 18 years experience in the financial sector. He is a lecturer in the Department of Economics at the Federal University of Education here in Ondo State. Of course, he's not a new face. He's more like our in-house economist at some point. Welcome on the show once again. And good morning.
Thank you for joining us this
Thank
morning.
you, thank you. Once again, I'm glad I'm here.
Yes.
I always enjoy discussing the economy.
Well, in this case, I guess it's going to be the economy in conjunction with the elections.
Yes, okay.
Now, the thing is, I know with the last elections that took place in Nigeria, those state election, everybody had a say. Before we go into the discuss for today in total, I would like to hear your view. What do you think about the election, the outcome, the experience? Was it worth it? Was there an element of surprise at some point?
Elections in Nigeria is always a surprise, so that element must always be there. I'm not a politician, but every human being, we are all political animals. Then whatever it is, the outcome of the election always affects us. That of Edo, there was a lot of hype during the campaign. I was even thinking that Labour Party will win with a lot of jingles all around. Then suddenly PDP coming up with a lot of theirs to APC. So it was actually a surprise. At the end, APC came up topping the charts. But I expect that PDP will not agree, which of course they did not agree. They said they must fight. Then that of Labour Party, they are very far. I don't know whether something will come up. But I think Edo State, they should calm down. It's going to be a new regime. What are those things that they did not do right? What will they correct? Then the citizens should start breathing up. Where can they make their impact? What will they do now to be better than it was before?
What can you say generally about elections in Nigeria? Let's not be particular about Edo State now.
Okay.
Talking about the electioneering processes in Nigeria so far.
Me, I always look more of the economic implications. Generally, elections in Nigeria, they are too capital intensive, and they involve persons more. I mean, those ones coming up to be elected. When you are coming out to say you want to serve, and you are spending a lot, what are you serving? Who are you serving? If the government take it up, if they are in charge, spending a lot, it becomes easier. Though it's almost the practice in all democracy. Election in Nigeria is too capital intensive, and the income it's also helping income redistribution, because a lot of people that hide money somewhere, they will bring it out to share to people. But sharing to people means compromising them, and compromising people means even if they did not perform after election, those people will not have a say. I think we should brace up in Nigeria. Let's try as much as possible, try to elect who we feel will be able to work and give us a result in the long run, instead of getting just to get what to eat at the moment. Though we know there is pressure, but we should look up to who is capable, who has credibility, who has the competence to handle the economy, so that at the end it will rub off positively on everybody.
Naturally we tend to always accuse INEC for lack of integrity, lack of transparency. It's more like we always look for a word to just any negative word to tag INEC with. Now, when it comes to the past elections particularly, what measures do you think INEC took or should have taken to actually enhance voting integrity?
With Nigerian election, the INEC and the IREV, because one have to refer to that, if they use the AREYOU properly, which of course they said they uploaded about 95 or 98% of the entire broadcast, of which some people are saying it's not up to that. If they use it properly, an upload is done from the polling units, there won't be much problems. If it's done, it would have been by the time they are presenting election results, once it has been uploaded, then they should flash it on a wide screen. What did they upload from this polling unit? What did they, these statistical records, what is uploaded from different polling units, they will flash it. Then cumulatively, what is uploaded for the local government, from there down to the state government. Reading it out one after the other, one person coming, you read your figures, the other person coming, you read your, then what is the essence of uploading? Anyone that is not uploaded should not be presented, because there is supposed to be a proper way of uploading. Where they are unable to upload from the polling units, then they have the presiding officers, they have INEC staff that is supposed to help them. If there is challenge in uploading, then those ones are the cases that are going to bring up at the collation center. It's okay, this center was unable to upload. INEC officer, please, what is the figure? They will upload it. Everybody will see it on the screen and it will be transmitted. So it's only the major issues we have now is that a result is uploaded, then they are contending the one uploaded that is different from the one they are presenting. So if we are using AREYOU, let's use it to the later. If we want to stop it, then let's stop it. I think we are improving by the day. INEC is doing better. They actually perform better in Edo now than before, though we still some levels of irregularities, but I think we'll be getting better by the day. We pray that with time, the issue of result irregularities will reduce, and at the same time, moving. I think we are just lucky that our states are not too wide. If not, telling somebody like those in the riverine area coming out with a result, it will take about 2-3 days. But if it's uploaded, instantly you see result. We should get to a stage where you will check your phone and see what is happening with elections. It will be, you will see it ticking continuously. Who are they voting for? What is happening? So that even before the election is concluded, you will see results already there. Nobody will argue it. That's what I expect that will come up with time.
Well, from your assessment so far, what are those factors that you think could be responsible for us not having this voting integrity, right? I mean, you made mention of the fact that we have AREYOU, and if results are being uploaded, then there is no need for the manual count and all of that. I'm very sure that when INEC were making their plans and when they resolved to bring in AREYOU down to the process of electioneering in Nigeria, they already knew the reason or the particular function that AREYOU would be playing. So why do you think they still kept the manual part of compilation?
I think they said it's for integrity's sake, but that's a kind of compromise integrity if they have to do manual. For the AREYOU, what they are using it now is for the polling units alone. But ordinarily it's supposed to be transmitted through the polling units down to the local government, from local government transmitted down to the states, and it will be collated instantly. Other economies like the US, when the election is going on, you can see you'll be seeing the count. How it's going, who is winning, who is losing. You will be at home, you will be seeing it. You won't be waiting for somebody to start counting. I think we have issue with data, a major problem. Data, how many, if you check now, if you check, you see that there is voters apathy. A lot of people don't come out to vote. Then if you are asked how many are in the local government area, then you consider those ones that are actually registered. Then some irregularities in the voters registration, like what happened in the past, where we see some dead people's names, some fictitious names coming up. So those are challenges. If we're able to tidy our data properly, then handling data like voting data would have been easier. I think we are still having a very major gap in handling our data, knowing how to handle our data properly. Again, training, understanding what election is, and proper training. The time they prepare for training for election is too short. Ordinarily, immediately after election, if election is coming up in the next 4 years, training should start now. All the officers expected are to be trained down. They will be prepared, they will know what to do at every level. Then again, recruiting ad hoc staff, they should do it earlier. Let adult staff be recruited earlier. Then I will also advise that if they have to expand, because our election is every 4 years, apart from that, we have different states now having different periods of election, meaning that it's not every 4 years, it's almost every time. In that case, they should increase the capacity for INEC. INEC officials, they should increase their numbers by employing more INEC officers. Then assigning them, let them work hand in hand with those in charge of data, because major INEC record is a major data in Nigeria. So they should work hand in hand with records, Nigerian records and archives. I think it will go a long way. The INEC officers will be in charge of handling those ones that are no more, that will not be accessible, especially during election, movement of people from one end to the other so that they will know where they are going to vote. Then they also have to look at when election is coming up, necessary preparations to be made. Because we do hear of cases where they say election materials arrive very late. Why will it arrive late? Why will it arrive? That means there is a gap somewhere. Even if there is rain, there is supposed to be preparations down. All necessary gadgets needed is supposed to be in place, and they are supposed to test all the IRF. They are supposed to test them, certify them okay before they are deployed. Over time, by the time they start practicing, they start training properly. If I'm an INEC staff and I am in elections, I should be trained and become an expert in election activities, so that during the election I will be available for one thing or the other. But here we see INEC staff, they will just say INEC staff, you get there, you don't see people around in INEC office. It's only during the election you see a lot of them. And then they recruit ad hoc staff, they come around, train them within 2-3 days, only 2 days, just to deploy them to go and do election activities. We have also observed that even during election, you see some INEC staff, they will be with the machine, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to operate it properly. That is also the issue of training. We should be preparing ahead of time.
You know, in Nigeria, we tend to have a seamless potential suppression and intimidation tactics when it comes to election. The question is, do you think this particular challenge played out in Edo State, and what do you think it speaks for the people and their future, say, from now to the next 4 years?
You can't rule that out, not only in Nigeria, everywhere. A lot of the issue of godfatherism, the issue of those ones that have respect for others. So you see those ones they respect coming to stand in front. Let me give you an instance. There are not a very good example is where the governor of Edo State went straight to collation center. He stood there. For you to see governor standing, a lot of people will dress back. If you want to voice out, you'll be looking at the governor. So people will be suppressed at that particular time. And during election, it will still the same. You see a community leader sitting down, say I'm APC member, I'm PDP member. Then you want to find out from you, who are you voting for? Are you, you know what they are supposed to do? They are supposed to allow all political parties to get prepared. When it's time for election, those political parties and their representatives should go out to go and invite people to vote, because that is a major area of campaign. They should go and invite people to vote. No, that is people that have apathy, voters apathy, they should, so that they'll be able to call them out to vote. Not waiting for them when they arrive to start giving them tips, you know, and trying to tell people who to vote for at a particular time. I think we don't, as at now, only a little percentage of us understand what election is. If we know the weight of election and the impact it's going to play in our life, then we'll know how to vote right. I think it's a major problem that we have.
Well, if you look closely to the kind of decisions that are made during elections in Nigeria, it's one way or the other definitely affects our economy. How would you address this?
Okay, the decisions made, and how they affect the economy. Yes. The major decision now I want to consider is the decision of voters, who you vote for. If you vote right, they say when good leaders lead, the people rejoice. If you vote right, then you will see the right things to come. First of all, voting, we have a vote integrity. What is integrity there? Is it fair? Is it open? If it's not fair, for instance, you have somebody coming for election to be voted for and distributing money, then you taking that money, you should now think of, how will I pay this person back? The person that is giving you money is the one that is going to be in charge of your funds. The money that is supposed to be used to maintain the roads that you are going to pass, the tax money is going to collect from people, is going to decide where to allocate it. So if he has given you money, don't expect that he will come and maintain your road. If he has given you money, just like you send somebody to go and buy something for you, you give the person like 1,000 naira, it's going to cost like 900 naira. You tell the person, take the remaining 100 naira. You have tipped the person off. If you eat and you still have surplus from that thing you went to buy, you will remember that you have to talk of others. That means by the time you collect money from a party because you want to vote, then you have eaten your future. It affects the economy. Again, you talk of the person elected now. For instance, if it's governorship, the governor elected, he is in charge, he has made money available. He will like to recoup his funds. Recouping means he's going to dip into the coffers, into the treasury. And he's not going to do it alone, he will do it along with some others so that he will pay back. Let me give you an instance. Then when I was in the banking sector, immediately after election, those ones that win, those in credit, we have to go and meet them to congratulate them. Part of congratulatory message, after congratulating them, they will tell them, anytime you need fund, we are available. We can offer you up to 5 million. Somebody that has not earned 10 kobo, you want to offer the person 5 million. If you check that person's salary, the salary is less than 1 million. But you have already offered 5 million, and you'll be ready to do more. That means this person will have access to funds. The person should get it from anywhere, anyhow, to return it. So it affects the economy badly. Policies, again, is policies that control the economy. And who are those ones that sign up policies? The executives. So if he has spent much, then policies must be in his favor. The policy then will not be in favor of the populace. It will be in favor of the person that is at the helm of affairs. That means the economy should not expect much. A lot of funds, will look for a way to layer it and to take it somewhere else. Then again, you talk of participation of individuals. If you have gone to governor to collect, you've gone to local government to collect, if you have what to say, who are you going to tell? You can't be bold to face them. Whoever you have taken bribe from, you cannot be bold to face the person, to tell the person that what he's doing is right. In that case, the person will not even listen to you. That is even what is happening now. A lot of us that are supposed to speak to government in order to correct some issues, maybe they've wet their palms, then they won't like to say that. And again, some of them that know what to say and how to handle it, they will feel that by the time I punch, then it will, by the time they start investigating, I may be dragged into it, then those ones will withdraw back. Eventually, the system keeps collapsing when election is without integrity.
When it comes to security agencies, the role they tend to play, I would like to use the past election as a case study. We actually broadcasted live here on air, and then I guess that it said there was no need for security personnel to hold firearms. And all they needed was probably sticks. That should be the best. Maybe sticks or nothing, but there was no call for firearms and all that. So I would like to know the need for security agencies for during election period. Is there a need to handle firearms, or those whole sticks, or maybe the uniform is just enough?
Meanwhile, first of all, election is supposed to be a civic duty, and it should be civil. One, soldiers are not supposed to be there. Any form of military, they are not supposed to be. It's supposed to be police only, and police like the police we know is supposed to be Olopa. It's supposed to be wood, at least to control crowd. That is the essence of their being there. So once you start coming with gun, that means there should be criminal tendencies. You know, when people start seeing gun, they brace up for it. Recently, even when people are protesting, even if there is gun, they don't look at the gun again because we have militarized the system. The use of gun during election is not expected, especially in this age. If we are actually using electronic transmission of results and electronic voting, using it properly, voting and making it properly electronic, why do you need anybody to be around with gun? Though officers that are supposed to be, they have to be with gun. Those ones that will come around, like senior officers, they be with their pistol in case people are not supposed to be seeing gun anywhere. So if they are with their pistol, it's expected that in the system there may be some criminals one way or the other. So if anybody come up with something like that, they'll be able to defend themselves. So if you come around as a civilian, you see a military carrying gun, even if the military slap you, first of all, you have to protect your life. You run away, or you will not do anything. That means you're already intimidated. Guns intimidate people. Guns, they are so intimidating. If, like myself, if I'm on the road, if I'm going anywhere, police officers or anybody stop me, they are with gun. Anything they say is yes, sir. What exactly do you need? You talk to them, because if any of them is crazy and use gun on you, your life is gone. So we should reduce the use of firearms. Just like you said, police officers that are supposed to control crowd. What do you use in controlling crowd? The strongest that you're supposed to use is tear gas. Strongest. Others are supposed to be wood. You use red tapes to guard in case there is any event that happen anywhere. Then you use a barricade, use plastics to defend yourself. That is what it's supposed to be. If we keep on using firearms, then it will cause a lot of problems. We have also noticed too that during the election, you see people coming with armor tanks as if it's a wartime. So that's too bad. It has made even the civilians to become military in nature. They don't look at if you go out now, some people, if they want to enforce any civic duty, you see them shouting. They want to tell you that they are ready to fight. That is where we find ourselves. Over time, we should change such orientation. During Edo State election, a lot of military men, they were seen everywhere. If a military man is standing somewhere without interfering, there is no problem. He has his own duty. He will only watch in case there is problem so that he will come up. But where they come around, come close, or see a politician, all of them, more than 20 military men or 10 following one politician, what do you expect? So and in Nigeria now, anybody that is followed by a military man or a police officer is seen to be a big boy. So once that person is coming, others will dress. That is intimidation. Eventually, we will not get what we want. I've had cases where I discuss with some people, then they say they would allow their children to go out there to vote so that stray bullets will not meet them in case there is problem. You can see that when people are afraid to come out because military men will be around, the essence of election will be defeated. Over time, if we use our data right, if we use the electronic system right, and we do the right thing, then we will be in and better for it without using the military, and results will be okay.
All right, at this point, we'll have to go for the next segment of Daybreak Africa before we come back for the second episode of the Discuss. Welcome back. Now we are on the second part of the Discuss this morning. We're talking about the elections, how voting and its integrity tends to affect the economy of every nation, not just Nigeria. Now, you did mention IREV at the onset. You did say there was need for IREV results to actually reflect that which we have on ground, in paper. And do you care to explain more? Because I think you wanted to actually make a light, but you made it quite passive.
Okay. The IREV I made mention of during elections. You see a machine like POS that they bring in for election. That is supposed to be connected with a network. So and they are supposed to be seen. They are supposed to use it to transmit results immediately after voting. So that IREV, the integrity of election depends on that IREV. As long as it's to be used, the integrity will depend on it. You only use the sheet of paper, the data where you record that everybody signed. You only use that for record purpose. That IREV, what I look at there is that if you use IREV within the polling units, every polling unit have clusters. Every cluster is supposed to submit, every polling unit is supposed to submit to a cluster. That cluster will submit to state INEC. And all the results will go to the different ports for the different clusters. Eventually, results will become seamless, so that by the time voting is taking place, let me use for instance, a bank that has a lot of POS attached to it. A transaction you do at the POS, won't it reflect in the bank? Will it not? That is transmission. By the time you go to POS now, you take your debit card, which is same with your voter's card. You slot it in, you debit. If you debit, find out from your bank, they've debited you. That is direct transmission. So if IREV is done to transmit instantly, it will reflect in the statement direct. It will reflect in, now in this case, you have those ones that the candidates, whoever you vote for, then the party, it will count for the party from anywhere. What they will only check now is if there is any failure, network failure. If there is any failure, it will show if there is failure for necessary corrections. Those are the things that are supposed to come to collation center to check. Is there any failure in the transmission? Those ones that went to different places, I hope they are back. Security issues, are they okay? Then before yourself, the election you went to conduct somewhere in the interland, before you even get to the center, your result is already waiting there. Even if they did not see you, your result, they can display it. There are sometimes you see them saying they are waiting for result for some places, but they went with IREV. What did they do with the IREV there? Why are they waiting for results when they went with IREV? Because every IREV has serial number. That serial number shows the polling units. And everybody that votes, they've ticked out the person. But every individual, they can verify your detail that you use for your voter's card. So once they check your name and they tick, that means you are to vote. Yeah. So they will now check those ones that they tick out for voting. How many of them did they tick out for voting? How many votes did they see? That will be where they look at the discrepancy. So IREV is very, very good if it's properly used. I think it's supposed to save us from a lot of these issues.
So it's more like we still need some sort of information when it comes to the use of IREV.
Of course, we need a lot. We need a lot. Voters are supposed to know what the IREV is for. Then those ones in charge of elections should understand it too. Then they should understand that IREV is not a magic. It's just like POS. So if POS can work, why can't your IREV work? Because it's simple. So it's just a simple thing. So if we do it right, we don't need to. Will you now go to, even if you go to somebody's POS to do transaction, will you go there to meet him to say my money? They will tell you go to your bank. Because IREV has their own data. Go to your bank knows what happened. If your vote did not count, your bank know. That is, if your debit did not, if they didn't debit you, it's your bank that know. If there is a reversal, your bank will know. So again, we should also watch is the integrity of that IREV, because the data bank who manages the data bank. That should be the concern of everybody, not even the votes that the way they vote outside. Because once it's voted, if we don't use IREV, then we can manipulate results. If the IREV is there and the transmission is not done, if I take another sheet of paper and write and sign, if those in a particular polling unit, they are supposed to be 20 and I put 200, if I present it, then they will accept it. Why not look at the IREV? Those ones are instant and it will give you the instant result. I will need to do more.
What about rules of observers, especially rules of observers in Nigerian elections? Because we have observers that have allegiance and switch allegiance.
Yes.
When need to be. What's your take on such?
Coincidentally, I've been an observer in 1 or 2 elections.
Okay.
Observers are there to observe. They cannot interfere.
Are you sure?
They cannot interfere. The observers cannot stop an election. They will only observe. This is what you see. This is what you see. They will report. But after reporting, will they use the report? That is one thing. We have external observers, international observers. We have local observers. We have journalists that go there to observe. We have individuals that go there to observe. We have party agents who are also observers too. Party agents are observers. But party agents have no right to stop election for any reason. You only say, this is what I see that happen. Something must be done. Or if there is any discrepancy, this is it. You know, observer will only go there so that at the end they will report what they see to correct the anomaly or to make things better the next time. Unfortunately, here we don't really use observers. They come there to observe, but I don't know how well they use their report, because there is no election in Nigeria here now that you will not see a lot of observers coming to say there is irregularity based on where they observe, because Nigeria is very large. If you are within a locality you are observing, then you have clusters of persons, maybe from an NGO that send observers to different places. They collate their results. They are supposed to collect their reports with necessary information. Then they will transmit it to INEC, who is going to use it to help them too. Because INEC, if INEC officer is compromised, it's observers that will complain. But in most cases, they tend to be defensive, defending their staff instead of listening to observers. That is what we normally see. If you tell, go to INEC to tell INEC, one of your staff did this, he will just look at you and scornfully and leave you. Then, how do you know? Were you the only person there? There are other observers, you know, something like that. Eventually, they will handle it with key blows. Such anomalies will keep on. You know,
you did mention the beavers, and you said not everybody understand how beavers or IREV actually work. And I think this brings a question to voter education system in Nigeria. Do you think the voters are well educated? If we are not even sure which is correct, is it the one we have on ground, or is it that is transmitted electronically that is the correct figure? Because I don't know if issues as that could be settled. Don't you think this actually speaks more about poor education, voters education, or election education?
Voter education, voter education, information. Because majority of the voters, it is when you get there, you learn it. Ordinarily, that should be the work of every party going to their local government, from local government to CDAs, development authorities, from there to different communities and village heads. So during electionary campaign, that is one of the things they are supposed to do. Because before electionary campaign, they are supposed to know how the voting process will take place, what the voters are supposed to do. They are supposed to educate voters more, so that when you get there, you will know what to do so that you will vote right. Then apart from that, INEC is supposed to have an orientation unit too, where they do necessary orientation. Now we are talking of election coming up in Ondo very soon, maybe next month. I've not had any jingle about the voting. I've not had any jingle about how to vote, how they are going to do it. Ordinarily, by now, in communities, you are supposed to be seeing some posters. Everybody believes that there is internet, that we can use phones. There are a lot of people that don't have phones that are accessible, that one can access internet and view a lot of things. We need to do more on educating the masses. Then again, we also realize that our population now, more than half of the population, they are youths. That means they should go more to where you can find youths. Go to, as election is coming up, especially public schools, public universities, there should be a commission to notify everybody election is coming up so and so period. Everybody that is an undergraduate is eligible to vote. So they should be informed. And if they pull out such crowd, then they will have a lot of voters that will come out to vote. And I'm assuring you, when voting is taking place, you see a lot of youth around. What they should be controlling is youth restiveness. Talk of the police available to control them. They will do better. Will do better, because as it is now, people don't know how to vote. People don't even know that they need to vote, and sometimes too, some people don't know when to vote. Some will be at home. They said they are voting today. I have not gone. No. That means the person does not even know that he needs to vote. Then they will give. They are supposed to have distributed polling units, and every individual is supposed to know his polling unit. That should be the work of community leaders, the parties and party agents. They are supposed to go to the polling unit, then go around to sensitize people around that environment, that this is where you are supposed to vote, this is how you are supposed to vote. Then the machine they are going to use, this is what the machine is for, this is what you have to check out for, so that you will not be cheated. What if you don't understand how the machine work? Somebody tell you, just come, let me just verify your name. You just check and did not verify. At the end, you go there to vote. They will check how many are those verified, how many are those that voted. If there is discrepancy, they will talk of cancelling maybe a polling unit for one reason or the other. So people need to know. People need to be informed. People need to understand, so that when there is error, a lot of people will know. It will be so glaring that error is coming up. It will be corrected immediately. We need orientation and reorientation.
Well, you made mention of policy being one of our major problems in Nigeria, and for one, I would like to come from this angle. The fact that over and over again, when we change leadership, automatically pending projects, pending policies, or implementation would be seized or restructured one way or the other, or probably even abandoned. Don't you see this as a major problem for Nigeria economy?
Yes, I think this thing you just mentioned now is one of the fallout of election integrity. Election without integrity will bring about such problems. A group will be leader today, then the right leaders will not come. When you vote, when you vote for the right person, you believe in the person, you follow up with the person. But once there is no integrity in the election, you will not believe in the person that is voted in. Then you will not follow up. Then the one that is coming in, we see the outgoing, because it was a tug of war between them, because it was a fight, they see themselves as enemy. So there is supposed to be a handshake between former executives or former leaders and the present one. But because they had a very rough fight, they will not like to continue. Especially to that, what to look at is party ideologies and also individual interests, especially in the leaders, not the collective interest of the people. If it's the collective interest of the people, the party does not matter. If they start a good project, the next person, the people, we make sure they inform this project has to be completed. We are waiting for the project. No matter the party that entered there, no matter the individual, that is where the people matter. So where there is election, problem with integrity in election, the people don't matter. Those elected will be the one that actually matter. The challenge we face in Nigeria, like every stage we have had the Jonathan economy, we have had the Obasanjo economy, we have had the Yar'Adua economy, we have had the Buhari 1 and Buhari 2. Now we are in another one. We are now having Tinubunomics. So they have their peculiarities, and they are affected by the people around them. They are affected by their party. They are affected by the beef they have on others who has passed. So some policies that come out, they say, no, I will not follow this policy and follow another policy. This person bastardized. They will not go deep into investigating the type of policy that person came up with, what the policy was supposed to be for, and if there was failure, why there was failure. They will just assume that because there was failure, they have to leave it. But then they will come up with a new one. Eventually, it does not work like that. That is why we have different policy failures and policy somersaults. Coming up with a policy today, another one changing it. Then who suffer is the people that suffer. Let me give something happened recently that our president said they are going to give concession, or they are going to consider food imports, removing import duties. Till today, it's not implemented, and they gave only 150 days. We have covered almost 60 days or more than 60 days out of the 150 days. It's supposed to lapse around the December ending. Why is he still waiting? It's leadership. The policy is there. Who are those ones to sign off? Who are those ones to implement it? So they are yet to sign off. It becomes a problem. If we have the right policy and we do the implementation as supposed to be, the economy will be in and better for it. Where we change government, changing government is not supposed to change the will of the people. Changing government is to change the leaders at that particular time, and you hold those leaders accountable, so that whatever project that is going to benefit the people, they will continue to do it.
Tell us a little how electoral uncertainty tends to affect investor or confidence.
What do you mean by electoral
uncertainty? Yes, sometimes many believe lack of voting integrity tends to make investors stay away. But I think no matter the economy or no matter the state of a particular nation, one way or another, investment should thrive. I mean, if the poor nation, it's more like when investment tends to thrive more in poor nations or warring nations. People tend to actually believe that as a school of thought.
Yeah.
So how do you think lack of voting integrity will tend to affect investment?
I will discuss earlier about voter integrity. Well, there is something you mentioned. Then let me give you an example. When Buhari came in as the president of Nigeria, immediately he said, we need to produce our food. Then he imposed ban on importation of milk, importation of a lot of things. Suddenly that affected the economy, especially the agricultural sector. It affected food consumption. So a change in government with anticipated change in policy, then investors will have to stay back to watch. Just like when they are here to release budgets, very good businessmen don't jump. They have to wait. Economists don't jump. They have to wait for the budget, see the budget, so that they will know the direction of the economy. When there is a change in government, very good investors have to watch what policy is this person coming up with. Because if you don't watch the policy, your business can be ruined. If you keep investing and you invest in the wrong end, it becomes a problem. What if, assuming somebody is talking of going to import rice continuously, foreign rice, when you know that the next government want to stop it, you will waste your money, because either it's coming here very expensive, or you look for smugglers. You'll be paying. You go into a lot of fraudulent activities in order to beat the policy. So you need to watch any new government, find out in the normal sense, when electionary campaign is going on, you go back to read manifesto. They will present their manifesto, then you will go back to read the manifesto to know the focus of the person that is coming in. So immediately after election, anybody that wins, you return back to that person's manifesto, because ordinarily the person that won the election is supposed to refer back to the manifesto, because that contains the promise to the people. Supposed to go back to the manifesto. And when you check the promise, you start preparing in order to get value from that promise. But when the manifesto is different from what is being implemented, then integrity issue comes in. Losers, that is, investors lose if they don't watch or if they don't predict the policy. So change in government, change in hands affects investors. When we talk of investors now, we should be thinking of the impact on the people. If Dangote complain, it's going to affect all of us because we are the one that consume the products that he produce. If there is heavy tax imposed on him, he will distribute it to us, because as they are taxing him, that means his cost of production has increased. Then the price of his product will increase. He's going to gather it from us in order to return. If the government is so intelligent to tax his income tax, that is supposed to be calculating what he did the previous year, taxing on his income, thinking that he's not going to remove it from the people, he will sit down with his board members. They've reduced our income. What do? They look for another way to handle it so that the people will still pay. For every investor invest to earn. They can't depreciate their income. Then the addition they are going to get is going to be from the people. Any policy that affects investment is also already affecting the people. For instance, if you listen to MPC committee meeting, yesterday's meeting, and the report, you see that government is bent on reducing money in circulation. They are bent on reducing money in circulation, so they came up with a lot of things: increase in NPR, increase in liquidity ratio, then CRR, increase in CRR. All these ones is targeted at the banks, and the banks will have to target the individuals. So when it's targeted at the banks target on companies, then companies target on individuals. Eventually, all of us will bear the burden. Right. So the pressure is on the system, and when it's on the system, it's on individuals.
Well, finally, we are actually out of time, but finally, just in a minute, how would you advise the people of Nigeria to go about voting right? How would you educate them on voting right?
Generally, I will say every Nigerian should know that governance is in our hands. The people governing us, they are from us, they are our brothers and our sisters. If we choose right, we will enjoy. If we don't choose right, we suffer it. If you want to vote, don't vote because of what they are going to give you. Vote for what you expect to gain in future. If you vote if you are given a little amount to eat today and you vote, you are not different from Esau that sold his birthright to Jacob. Let's make sure we understand why we have to go out to vote. Again, don't wait until people come around to educate you. Find out when is election coming up, who are those coming out, because what we also observe is that a lot of people don't even know the candidates that they are voting for. They only know that they are voting for a party, and party is not a person. So let's look at candidates and vote for candidates instead of voting for a party. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I guess that education is going to stick in for a while, knowing that when the election is around the corner.
Yes.
Then that brings us to the very end of the show for the morning. But of course, we see you tomorrow, same time, same station. I remain Ezekiel, Ogar.
And I am Angela Daku.
Yes, there is news on your device, but hearing an analyst's perspective is the icing on the cake that Daybreak Africa provides. Start your day with prompt analysis of the latest news, trends,
exactly, and then you see these people, they are so agile, they can do a lot of
politics.
We have to go back to that regional system. That is the foundation of this country, for God's sake.
Entertainment, fashion, culinary skills,
So first I'm going to be pouring the oil inside the pot and I will...
religious and cultural events amongst others on Daybreak Africa.
For a rich mix of analysis on current issues, tune in daily from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on channel 480 and 124 on Startimes.